Hello, my name is Dylan,
And I'm Dani.
and this is Realistic Intentionality Reads Reddit.
Ooh. And Dylan, what is today's episode about?
Today's episode is about parenting.
Realistic Intentionality Reads Reddit.
Parenting. As you can imagine, Reddit is just a treasure cove of parenting insights, both good and bad.
Oh, I bet.
So I figured it'd be fun if we dove into that and kind of give our parenting expertise, right? Because we're obviously experts,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
No.
For sure.
No, but we might as well. You know what?
Yeah, we try.
We brought a human onto this planet and we are raising him to our will and our desires. So we might as well put our two
Or
cents in for other people.
Or at least we try.
Yeah, we try.
We try to. He's a tough one.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you feel as a parent? Do you have any specific parenting style or, structure or rule you go by?
Not necessarily. I just try to do my best. I'm basically just trying to prepare him for adulthood.
Yeah.
Trying not to, put him through anything too bad that's going to mess him up, but also not have him grow up to be soft. Try to do a good bit of controlled toughness and a good bit of, just not too easy of an upbringing, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
You were lucky. You had, Jacob. Now you were young, but you had, years before then us starting our family to kind of reflect on your own parenting. I definitely went into it very holistic minded. We had a home birth. I really wanted to do like gentle parenting and I wanted to do everything with that. And I still lean gentle parenting with like the emotional awareness for sure. But I don't abide by that. In fact, the only firm rule I abide by is firm but loving. And that was based off a study of like thousands, I think it was tens of thousands of kids. And basically, you could be like super loving and gentle and flexible, or you could be super firm and structured, but then like cold. And they found it's actually the combination, instead of being flexible but cold, you want to be firm but loving.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that, yeah.
So
Never heard it explained that way, but yeah.
Right.
I like that.
It's like you need to set boundaries. You need to establish that you know enough and you are to be respected enough that they listen to you on the things that are important. Mm-hmm. But you need to show love and affection enough that they can trust when those important things are.
Yeah.
And like as a part of growing up, they are going to challenge you, but it's a matter of them understanding like, okay, they're being really firm about this. It must be for a good reason.
Right.
Like, don't get into a car with a friend who's been drinking, mm-hmm. Or it is not a good idea to be telling strangers online about this kind of stuff. And so you have to like be firm on the things that really matter, but loving enough that, they know that you are looking out for them. You do want them to have fun. You do want them to be creative and follow their own dreams and follow their own will and have their own sovereignty. And that's another big word I try to follow is also giving them sovereignty. Mm-hmm. So I'm always asking our son, like, does he still want to be vegetarian? Does he want to eat meat? I tell him, do you want to play baseball? Do you not want to play baseball? Like, I check in with him about what he wants to do because ultimately it's his life and he needs to figure it out.
But within like guidelines, within like having the guardrails up.
Like, if he said he wanted to quit baseball and start taking pictures of people through their windows at night, I'd be like, no, right? Yeah. But like as long as it's harmless, like it's like, oh, I don't want to be in baseball because I want to do musical theater, I'd be like, okay, that's fine.
Right.
Like, go ahead.
But if he's like, I don't want to play baseball, so I can sit at home and play video games more, that might not be the best.
Yeah, I would probably then be like, okay, you have to try a different sport.
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
we can pivot, but
Yeah.
yeah, there can't be like,
Not gonna drop one extracurricular to do nothing, but to switch it for another.
well, it's about trying new things. He's at
Yeah.
children are they have the time and freedom that they need to explore what kind of things they like, what kind of things they're naturally gifted at, what kind of things challenge them in a good way, what kind of things challenge them in a bad way. Also just learning, how to interact with others, how to be a team player, how to be a leader. They have to explore all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not putting your kid into a wide variety of activities or encouraging them in a wide variety of ways, you're not setting them up to figure out who they are.
Mm-hmm. Or
And,
to be like a well-rounded adult.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just like a multifaceted person. And so it's like you don't need to force them into all these extracurricular things, but you should encourage it,
Mm-hmm.
and you should really be firm in that, like, you don't care what it is, but it has to be something productive, and it has to be something that they like and
Yeah.
that they feel good for.
Yeah.
So it's like really, and I feel like some gentle parenting would go sway on the side of like, oh, you don't want to do this, honey? You don't like sports? That's fine. When like I'm a little more firm than that, but then I'm not so firm that's like you have to be, in pre-SAT classes when you're in the 5th grade and you need to do all these piano, violin, Latin, chess, a debate team. Like I'm not going to be like that. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it.
All right. So our first one is from Am I the Asshole?
Ooh, this is one of my favorites.
All right. It's a bit a long one. We have to get wordy, right? Because the reality with parenting is there's a lot of nuances and circumstances that need to be figured out. All right. Am I the asshole for refusing to raise ex-husband's child?
Okay.
So
All right.
it's her ex-husband's child.
Elaborate.
I am not American and given names are fake. I am Tori, 35 female, and have a 10-year-old son, Neo, with Jeff, 35. We divorced 5 years back when he had an affair with Rebecca. They have a 4-year-old son, Omar, and Rebecca left them for her home country 2 years back. She left the kid for good and hasn't contacted since. My ex, who was always rude before that, has changed tunes ever since. During custody exchanges, he brings Omar and sometimes asks if I can take him, which I always have refused. My son and his half-brother are close, and have developed a bond like real brothers, which is fine to me, because I don't plan to have any other kids. So it's good that he has a sibling from his father's side. But I also made it clear to my son I don't want to associate with my ex's family except for therapy. Last time, he brought him fully ready with a bag when I said no. Kid said, "Mommy, take me too." I wasn't happy with this and had a huge verbal clash with my ex. I told him to stop brainwashing the poor kid, as I will never be his mother. My ex doubled down and told me that I am a wonderful mother to Neo and I can open my heart. Truth is, I can't. Omar reminds me of their affair. I know that he is innocent, but I don't want him at my home. My son knows my boundary. Now my ex-in-laws are asking me to show some compassion and love for the kid who is faultless, but I don't want to be associated as any motherly figure in his life. They are calling me heartless for not taking the kid with me to my home and other places where I took Neo. They say that he is without a mother, but I don't really want to associate with my ex outside of our son. I told them that if I had an affair and a kid with a random man, would they accept the kid? That shut them up. Still, they message me calling me names. So, are they the asshole?
Wow. Poor kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the husband's definitely the asshole.
Yes.
Like, he needs to, like, she set her boundary and was, like, very, like, straightforward with it. And, like, now it is your job to, like, figure out how to, navigate this to not, like, fuck your son up.
Right.
Like, because it's, like, that's so messed up towards him.
Right. And the father slash ex-husband is now setting up his son Omar to expect this woman to be his mother and encouraging him to call her mommy and packing bags. And this kid already
has abandonment issues.
Right. Or is
Like,
going to develop them, or
Right.
at least going to question what happened with his, his biological mother. And now he has to deal with this. So it's like, clearly the father isn't actually thinking long term in Omar's interests. He might be thinking short term of like, oh, I'm going to track that. I'm going to trap my ex-wife into being like a whole new mommy for him because he deserves a mommy, which is like one of those short-sighted, like, I'm caring for my kid kind of things. But then it's like long term, you're actually not. Like you're
Yeah.
setting him up for even more issues. And yeah, but I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I do think that she should handle this with a little more care of the kid in mind also.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, she should, they are brothers. So I do think she should be like, listen, I don't necessarily feel great looking at this child because he's from an affair of my marriage. But, we can arrange play dates. We can meet at the park. They can occasionally do sleepovers, like as if he were a friend sleeping over. But under no circumstances can he believe that I'm his mother, that he is a part of this particular family unit, and that there is any kind of mandatory custody. Like, the fact that he had his bags packed one night, if I was in her shoes, I would have just been like...
Let him stay that night at least.
Right.
Yeah,
Let him
and then
stay
have the
that night,
conversation.
but also make the father stay too. Even if I would hate him, I'd be like, listen, if your kid's going to be here, you are too. Because he needs a parent around, and I'm not his parent. And I'm not volunteering to be that. And like really setting that down. So I don't think she's an asshole. He's definitely the asshole, and that's such a tricky situation.
Yeah, I don't even know if
How old was it?
asshole's the right. Like, I don't think he's an asshole for it. Is like very irresponsible, but I mean, I get it. He's like, I get what he's trying to do, but just not going about it with, yeah.
Okay.
Not much strategy there.
So this kid is 4 years old. So that's like
Wow,
just
I was picturing older.
their kid together is 10. So it's also like they're not going to be super best friends because it's like a 10-year-old and a 4-year-old.
Right.
So like I was kind of thinking like
2 years.
right where they would be like they're already bonded as best friends. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's like even as a play date, like what are you going to do? Like drop the 4-year-old off, and is the 10-year-old going to like watch?
Yeah.
Bluey
No,
and, like-
yeah, it's a good time to like set that boundary. Honestly, 4 years old is yeah.
Some comments say, you're not the asshole. Perhaps you should go to court and have your custody agreement amended to include stipulations such as all communications to be through a parenting app or emails in order to keep records. It should also be amended that you are allowed to have someone else drop off and pick up your son. So to avoid his other son coming or in-laws. And I think you should document your ex's and former in-laws' harassment by no longer speaking on the phone. That's true. She did say they're like harassing her and sending messages. So they are effectively trying to bully her and guilt her into being a mother because he picked a shitty person to have an affair and have a kid with. Which, yeah, like she shouldn't give in to that by any means, but you just also have to be careful with kids. Like there's people with kids who like, I would look out for the kids. I would talk to the kids, even if there was any sort of stressors or weirdness with the parent, just for the sake of being a good role model for the kids.
Right.
But then, it's like you set those boundaries. Yeah, not the asshole. You don't have to raise someone else's kid. Block your ex-in-laws. And yeah, it's like, why do you even need to talk to the in-laws?
Right.
I guess they are your child's grandparents, but with co-parenting, it's like,
If you're split up, there's no reason that she needs to have a conversation with them. Honestly, see him at like birthday parties. That's about it, and you don't gotta talk to him.
The dude is looking for someone to watch his kid for free. He wants time off and is trying to
Right,
sucker you into
exactly.
doing it.
That's for sure.
Tell your ex-in-laws that they can be the mother figure to the kid. Honestly,
Right,
true. Like,
right. Yeah, yeah. If he gets her to do that, he's got a lifelong babysitter.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely did seem like he was trying to like pawn the kid off. And like if he was under the narrative of just like wanting a mother for his kid, we already talked about that.
Dude,
It's
that's
like not
so messed up. That's so sad that the kid showed up there with his bags packed.
right, right.
That breaks my heart.
It's like,
dude.
okay, bye. Here's your bag. Shuts the door. So like I think final thoughts is definitely eliminate contact the most you can. Keep contact very structured and with custody in mind. Arrange for certain play dates, especially because the age gap is substantial. So it's like the kids aren't super besties.
Yep.
You know, set up a play date maybe once a week if Neo, her son, feels inclined to do that.
Well, she doesn't even need to do that anyways because they have shared custody, right? Why does she need to set up any kind of play date?
I don't know.
He has play dates at dad's. That is time for play dates, you know?
Oh, during custody exchanges. So yes, that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, she doesn't need to do
Yeah,
any of
I
that.
was totally thinking like if she has primary custody, but
Right.
yeah, you're so right. Yeah, like he sees his brother then. Yeah,
Sorry, bro. You ain't got.
yeah,
You
he's
have
just
to
like,
pay for a babysitter.
yeah. Dude, Dad just feels like he took a huge L because he like cheated on this woman for a woman that dipped out. So he's like, he's probably like trying to trap her in some weird way, and he's just like,
Right. Maybe if she falls in love with the kid, she'll take me back and adopt him, and
Right.
we can act like nothing ever happened except with this.
yeah, good luck with that, bro. But as for her, yeah, just like make everything very structured, very professional. And like in those horrible cases where like somehow they do spring the kid up on you, like just, try to play it off for the kid's sake,
Yeah.
All right, you ready for the next one?
Ready.
All right. This was posted in r-parenting. Most of them were posted in r-parenting. Why does my son invite a girl over and go up to his room for 5 minutes?
What?
And now her son is 21. So
21.
he's still living at home.
Hmm.
I hate to be in my son's business, but I'm very confused because we will be having dinner or just around the house doing whatever, and some girl will come in. We will all say hi, and they would go up to his room for 5 minutes. So they both go up to his room. 5 minutes later, and he's walking her out the door. I'd say that this is him hooking up with random girls, but it's been the same girl once before already. Same thing happened the last time with her. What do you think is going on? I think it's hooking up, but that would be a shame to be bringing a girl upstairs for 5 minutes.
I think it might have something to do with drugs.
Right. To me, it sounds like he's selling her drugs.
Yeah. But
That's
only
it.
one single client.
She did say
Same girl.
random girls, but this
Oh.
girl has already been, so she's a repeat customer.
He's a birth control slinger.
He's a Minuteman. He gets it done. He's efficient.
He's in and out.
No,
In and out. Let's go, baby. Got to get back to dinner.
No,
Mom's awaiting.
clearly he's selling drugs.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Or he's doing, maybe like if they're college age, he might be like writing essays and giving them the essays or doing something. He's doing some sort of business exchange.
Yeah, that's what my guess is.
All right. So comments say
Please tell me there's an update, though, so we can find out. Because
there's kind of
I
an
need to know.
update. If the girls are often different, he's probably selling. But if it's often the same, he's probably buying. That's interesting. I did not think of that.
Did they even specify what he's buying and selling or what's being bought and sold? Or are they just implying? Is drugs to be implied?
I used to go up to my guy friend's room for 5 minutes when I was buying weed in high school. LOL. It was so awkward because it felt like it had to be so obvious to his parents he was selling. And then someone wrote, apparently not always.
Right.
Someone else just commented, drugs?
Yep.
Another person just wrote, drugs.
Seems pretty obvious.
Any chance your son has an Adderall prescription
That's exactly what I was thinking.
similar controlled substances? As it's been said here many times, this sounds like drugs. Your son is a drug dealer. Someone else responded to that. A budding entrepreneur. Everyone here is saying drugs, but premature ejaculation affects millions of men that definitely aren't me. Again, not me, but some people that aren't me.
Maybe it's both. Maybe he's real fast and he's getting both the jobs done.
Edit. Thank you guys for the help. I don't know how I didn't see drugs being an option. As I raised him to be against all those things, I guess sometimes it just doesn't work. Another thing is the first time she left quick, he told me she just had to leave suddenly. And the second time I couldn't intervene because she was already out the door by the time I could have. I will catch this the third time. And yes, he's almost 21 and I don't want to push my boundaries too harshly without also reminding him that he's under my roof. He's 21. Confront him.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like, dude, do I need to be worried because you're only lasting 5 minutes, or are you selling drugs in my house?
Right.
Those are the only two options.
Be very frank.
And either way, I don't want either of that happening.
Right. You get your own house before you knock someone up.
Right. Or like, just like sell something to someone you shouldn't.
Right. Is there an update? Oh wait.
Nope,
that was the update.
That was the update that
Oh.
she was gonna catch for a third time.
Right. Oh, man, how did that? Wow. How long ago was that posted?
5 days ago.
Okay, good.
So-
we gotta come back to that.
Yeah, we can follow up. I typically find ones that are pretty recent, unless we're doing something like really specific, like the conspiracy one. That one I had to go kind of far back. All right. So this was posted on Am I the Asshole for having an intervention about my husband's parenting? And this was 4 months ago. I'll just put that out there.
What? Can you read the title one more time?
Am I the asshole for having an intervention about my husband's parenting? We have a 10-week-old baby. Husband, 28 male, absolutely adores him and wants to spend every available moment with him. I know he wants to be an amazing father. However, he engages in unsafe behaviors like falling asleep on the couch while baby is contact napping, leaving baby on a playmat unattended while the dog is in the room, or putting baby for a day nap with his bib still on. That one's rough. Husband claims I'm too anxious, making a big deal out of nothing. Baby can't roll yet and the dog won't hurt him. He holds baby firmly while sleeping, etc. And I admit, I don't react calmly. I freak out, which makes him act defensive. But he's being unsafe and it stresses me out. I feel like I can't leave him alone with the baby, which only offends him more. Last week, I had enough. I asked my mother-in-law and sister-in-law to talk to him. They took my side and ripped him a new one. Now husband is angry that I brought them into it and made a whole intervention like he's such a bad dad. Am I the asshole for insisting my husband change how he acts around the baby and involving his family?
No, I don't think so. Not like she's not trying to get him to change his parenting style. Just be a little more safe and like thoughtful when it comes to like keeping the baby alive. You
Yeah.
know? Like that's not something to take personal. That's just like, hey, can you be a little more cautious and like aware?
10-week-old baby, small baby.
Yeah, very for sure.
10 weeks. That's like 2 months.
But yeah, he would be more receptive if she like tried to approach it with a little more like
Right.
ease and grace. And
But she's postpartum. She's so fresh in
Right,
it.
right.
This is their first
Yeah.
kid. It's like I think the whole first year of having a kid, like the mother is excused for any kind of freakouts.
I would say the family probably did the worst as far as like ripping him a new one. Like yeah, they should probably just have. They should have been able to be the ones to calmly talk to him and be like, hey, like, she's postpartum and like, she may be a little overreactive, but just try to show her that you're trying a little harder to keep the baby safe. And,
Yeah, like putting the baby to sleep with a bib on, that's sketch. Like
Yeah.
that's a strangulation
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
Contact napping.
I don't have a problem with that. We would do that all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's not exactly super safe.
Unless he's like a hard sleeper and is like clearly like snoring and knocked out and like he's like a hard sleeper. Like, I know with us, we would take naps and sleep, but we were not hard sleepers.
The midwives literally gave him to you to sleep.
Yeah.
Night that he was born.
Yeah.
Full
And nothing ever
contact
happens.
sleep.
Like, when you're, I don't know.
We
like,
have survivor's bias, right? There are those really bad
Yeah, right,
situations
right.
where people do co-sleep and something does occur. It just doesn't occur as much as like as it's discussed, because like in America they only look at like the Americans like statistics and like people all over contact sleep, and so I don't know, like, but yeah, I mean, just because like, you know, we did it and we didn't have a problem, there are cases where people do, and it's tragic, you know. So as her being a new mom and being nervous about that,
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
understandable.
Yeah, you're not an asshole when, like, the thing you're worried about is your child's survival or not.
Right.
Like, no, you're not an asshole.
And there were times that like I would
You've got it to this day and since the beginning. Yeah, got on me about keeping our kid alive. Yeah.
right. And there were times that like you in reality probably should have had that. Like when you were
Yeah.
in the hotel gym with River
Yeah.
and like doing the like weight presses
Right.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Do you want me to have this in?
Huh? I don't care.
Okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, so like we were in a hotel gym
Right.
and you were doing like the thing, and I started freaking out because I was like, oh my god, you can crush his fingers.
Right.
In
And
between.
yeah, and he did squish his fingers, but in my defense, it happened because of your freak out.
I was
You were
freaking
like
out.
freaking out, which like from the outside, which made me turn around and then drop the weights onto his fingers. Not drop, but like set them down and like pinch him a little bit.
Yeah, he was fine. His fingers
Yeah,
were
it
fine.
wasn't nothing crazy, but like,
Oh my
you know,
god.
I was paying attention to him, but yeah, I could
but
see
kids
like
shouldn't be in a gym, and you
That is
definitely
true.
shouldn't be doing any
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
weight pressing
Yeah,
things when
yeah,
there's all
yeah.
those stickers of hands
right,
while
right.
you're little kiddo. Because he was, I think, just over 1 based off that trip, and so he was still really gripping things to walk.
Mhm.
So he was still early on in that.
Right.
But you know, and it probably like kind of hurt your feelings. I remember you did get really defensive. I mean, even just now you were like, oh, well, it only happened because you were distracting me. But it
Yeah.
was still the prevention side of it. So it does hurt, like, as a father,
Yeah, for sure.
when a mom is like worried, but it comes from a good place.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I don't think she's an asshole by
I
any
think
means.
anything when you're being confronted and it's coming from a place of high emotion, it's really hard not to get defensive and like feel attacked.
Well, also, they're like, he's a fresh dad too.
Yeah.
You know, and they're both so internally scared shitless that they're gonna like break this baby,
Mhm.
because that's how it feels like
Yeah.
when you first have a kid. It's like you just are absolutely terrified
Right,
that you're going to break the baby.
Right, because yeah, as soon as the baby pops out, it's like, oh, now there's all of these numerous fears that like pour into your being.
Look, I wasn't worried about myself jumping off a roof, but now I'm suddenly worried that my kid is gonna turn over a wrong way onto a pillow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Never mind. I don't want to put any. Yeah.
Or gets his fingers squished in weights.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't think she's an asshole for doing that, especially because he was dismissing her. I think the fact that she had raised her concerns, even if it was in like a freak out manner, she still was raising her concerns and he wasn't changing that behavior. So like, yes, she needed someone to come in. And honestly, I probably would have done the same thing, where I would have like contacted a family member or friend. I mean, I think we even had situations where I'm like, you know, when you were struggling with your addiction, you know, like people would talk to you and be like, yo, like you're taking care of a kid with this woman right now, like, you know. And
Yeah.
like,
Sometimes you like you feel like you're not getting the point across, and you need a little help from outside perspectives, and like maybe that outside perspective can give other perspective to the person you're trying to convey it to.
yeah.
So yeah, not an
Oh, yeah.
asshole.
Even when I was pregnant, you know, having a natural birth, like having a home birth, like you and my mom were both like, dude, my dad, oh my God, everyone was was not sure about that situation
Yeah.
about having the baby at home.
Was I not sure about it?
Well,
did I have concerns? I don't recall having much
when our
concerns.
OB bailed out, and I was telling you how I just wanted to like not get a whole. I didn't want an OB. I didn't want anyone, and I just wanted to like have the baby in secret. You were like, no, I'll call 911 on you.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like responsible. Like I didn't want to be the only one not going through birth and like being no. Mm-mm.
But it worked out, and there's tons of people that do that. And
Yeah, I know. That's just mind blowing though. Like
yeah,
it's like perfectly all good and magical if it goes good, but man, if something like doesn't go great, then like that would be scary.
yeah. So Common said, not the asshole. Your husband is an asshole. He's doing dangerous things that could genuinely kill the baby. Safe co-sleeping does exist. Okay, so, but not with anyone but the breastfeeding parent for the first few months. Even then, you need to set up a space following the safe sleep 7. I'm sick of men not educating themselves on this and forcing you to do the labor of finding sources to teach him how to be a parent when you yourself are new at it too. And then he doesn't even listen to you. I would be livid. If he isn't willing to educate himself, he has to default to your knowledge. If he isn't willing to educate himself, he has to default to your knowledge. That's a really good like rule of thumb.
Yeah. I do that. I do that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's just a good rule of thumb for anything. Like any kind of like situation where it's like if you're not willing to do the education and research, then you have to default to someone who has done it themselves.
Right. Yeah, I mean just like when I don't know, like an example, but yeah, there's definitely things where it's like, okay, I can see that like she's putting in the effort and energy to like educate herself on a subject. Like I'm gonna like give her the reins to like decide on which route to take on this certain topic, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's about like being in a relationship, and parenting is like it's all about like kind of like that back and forth of like allowing one another, like swallowing your pride and ego when the other person like has more knowledge or
Right. It's like checks and
experience on a
balances.
topic. Exactly.
Like you have to like concede when they have good points or when they have proper education on something, but then like if it seems like they're swaying into like a dangerous or not suitable or unideal situation, then it's like you have to
be a good leader and a good follower.
check in with them and be like, hey, like she did right by him, because had something happened, he would have not been able to live with himself.
Yeah.
And she's doing good by him by preventing that.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't realize it because his feelings are so hurt.
They're in the moment.
Right. And it's like understandable that his feelings are hurt because he's so fresh to this too, but he does need to like recognize that she's only saying this out of the care for the child.
Yeah.
And that's both of their MOs. So
right.
Got to work through it.
Yeah. I'm sure they'll do fine.
People are, which I'm not going to read for trigger warning purposes, but there are people sharing some pretty tough stories about those kind of behaviors and how they have ended tragically.
Yep.
Tragically. Right. What's worse, pissed off dad or devastated dad when the baby gets harmed? Show him the stats on babies getting harmed in those ways.
Right. Make it real for him.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, no, final thoughts on that. She's not the asshole. Maybe the family members didn't handle it as delicately. He needs to understand they're both just trying to look out for baby, and
And this is normal. Being like fresh parents is like that shit's tough. Shit's hard.
we still constantly have to check each other.
Yeah.
All the time.
Like the first 2 years, it's just it's rough.
Rough. Right, and they're at 2 months.
It puts the relationship to the test, the ultimate test.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. We were just talking to a friend about that, about how it's like the first 5 years of being a parent with a partner. It's like that is all about learning how to navigate being a parent with your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to feel hunky-dory all the time. It is going to be lots of trial and error. And I feel like so many people end relationships within that 5-year range.
Yeah.
Because they just they either identify that it can't be saved and there's just too many fundamental differences, or because they expect things to be all happy, family, finally have a baby, and it's like, no.
Yeah, the fairy tales lied.
You're in the gauntlet, motherfucker.
Yeah, dude.
This is fucking WWE Life Edition.
Yep.
This is a cage match of all your fears, all your anxieties, all of your bad habits being put on a spotlight because you have this precious little angel to take care of.
Yep.
And you both have to figure it out with each other, with your different upbringings and your different mental styles and parenting styles.
Right.
It is not smooth sailing. That's also why I think it's crazy when people have two kids under 5, when they double down because they want that age gap. Crazy.
Yeah.
I get it because, trust me, part of me does regret not having a baby within a certain age gap for River to play with. Yeah. But ultimately, like, I don't know if we would have made it had we had 2 kids.
Yeah, I think so. Let's try.
Well,
let's have 2 more.
He's nearly 7 now, so, you know.
That's okay. We just have to have 2. So 3. 3 total.
I saw something. It was like a meme, and it said, when you have 1 kid, you have 100 kids. When you have 2 kids, you have 1 kid. And when you have 3 kids, you have 0 kids. So basically, when you have 1 kid, you have to occupy them and, like, do all the shit with them. Mm-hmm. So it feels like you have 100 kids.
Right.
But then when you have 2 kids, they occupy each other, but you still have to cater to them.
Right.
But then when you have 3 kids, it's
2 of them occupy themselves.
Well, usually there's some sort of dynamic in which, like, one's caring for them. So yeah, I don't know. I have, like, and I've said it so many times on the Realistic Intentionality guest podcast, and I know that, like, I've probably even said in Reddit stories, but having a kid is, like, so desensitized in society, where, like, or people are desensitized to it, where they don't understand how huge of a fucking responsibility it is, how massive it actually is, how impactful it actually is, and, like, how you truly don't know how deep you are into it until, like, 5 years in, when you start getting run down and you do start figuring out whether the relationship with the other parent has worked or not worked or whatever. Like, you just truly don't even know until you're in it for so long. Right. And, like, I had a friend, she's one of my best friends, and when she got pregnant, she's like, she got pregnant shortly after I did. And she was like, be honest with me. Like, how is it? Like, and I was like, honestly, it's, like, the worst thing that's ever happened to me, but with the best love and the most rewarding sense of struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm going to be so for real with you right now. Like,
and she has struggled.
Yes. And you know what? She has told me how grateful she is that I was honest with her, because it set real expectations.
Golly. I can't imagine, like, how she would have dealt with it if, like, everybody would have gave the traditional, like, generic answer. Oh, it's the best thing to, like, oh, God.
Bro, if I'm just going to say it, every mom that gets annoyed with another mom saying that's the worst thing ever, they're delusional. They are lying to themselves. It is beautiful. The love is amazing. It is so rewarding. You feel truly one with this being.
In retrospect, it is amazing, and it's the best thing that's ever happened.
It's very
in the moment when you're in the midst of it. Sometimes that's when it's, like, just the most testing.
It's like if you and some people accidentally get pregnant, or some people do it on purpose, but basically you take, like, an insane massive heroic dose of, like, mushrooms, and then you just have the worst freaking trip ever, and it's just a horrible experience, but it still kind of feels nice. It feels nice in your body, but it's, like, agony in your mind. But then you come out of it with all these insights and growth and knowledge and love and appreciation for life. Mm-hmm. That it is beneficial, but in the moment it was rough.
You don't being a parent is the ultimate yoga or psychedelic You don't need any
like
of those.
transformative.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna get all the insights and growth, and like be a stronger person on the other side. That you don't need any of that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like those things can benefit you, even as a parent. But like, yeah, yeah. Like that's where most of your growth and insights are gonna come from for sure.
Right. Like it's beautiful and it's amazing, but it is so hard.
You view the world entirely different
Right.
on the other side.
And there's so much like the weight of love is like nearly unbearable.
Mm.
Where you worry about this being all the time. You love them so much. You just want everyone in their class to be nice to them. You just want all their doctor's visits to go well and all of their health and their blood tests to be fine. You just want them to be able to walk home from school safe. Like you just
Right.
want
Yeah, and like the thought of them going through the things that you've had to go through, just like it's like an arrow through the heart.
right. And then even like worse, like the concept that they might go through something worse than what you have, it's just like you want to like take the bullet for them over and over and over. It's like it is truly not for everyone, but society has made it seem like it's for everyone, which is so sick. And that's why there's so many people who had horrible childhoods or horrible relationships with their parents, because there's people having kids because they think they have to, or that's what society wants them to do, and they're not actually equipped or actually want to have kids.
Yeah.
And then the kids grow up feeling so unloved or untaken care of, you know? And it's like we need to stop normalizing having kids. It is not for the faint of heart.
Yeah, I don't know.
Stop having kids if you don't want kids. Is that fine?
That's better. That's better.
All right, now this one's a little tough, so trigger warning. This does have to do with a minor doing some explicit things online. All right, so I'm gonna stay vague on this one because it is a sensitive topic, but I do think it's a topic that we should touch upon. I don't want to give all the details. I don't want people to be able to find this Reddit, so I'm not even gonna read the title verbatim. I'm gonna kind of just paraphrase. So basically, this Reddit was someone asking for help because they found their daughter, who is young, I'm going to just say younger than 15, had a social media page that had some suggestive and explicit content on it.
That is horrific as a parent.
Yeah.
I could not imagine.
So basically, the mother had some things in place to prevent her from downloading social media, and so her daughter was not supposed to be on social media at all. But then the daughter decided to have a secret account, and she found the account, the mother, with hundreds of followers and thousands of views, and she looked at the content, and the content was extremely explicit and sexually suggestive. And she said that her daughter has always seemed closed off from those kind of things. And like she even cried when she had to take sex ed. So that this is, the mother's very like,
Wow.
This is
That's
very
jarring.
Yeah, very unexpected. And she said that the worst part of what she found was the comments. Even though she had been even though she was open with her age, there were many comments from people over 20 having sexual conversations with her. And they would try to talk outside the app, and she did find some conversations that made it outside of the apps.
Oh, this mom needs to go to the feds.
The worst part is that she shared pictures of family and friends in the conversations with some of these people. And so the daughter has been in therapy for some other things dealing with the realm of like self-harm. And so the mom did call the police and file a report. And she's planning on going to the school, but she's scared of what it's going to do with her daughter's mental health. And she's going to call an emergency appointment with a therapist. She's asking if she should make the right choice to tell other parents. She's worried that her daughter will have some social repercussions from it because she already has had a hard time making friends, and what her next steps should be. And again, guys, I do apologize for being kind of vague and not reading this, but when I pulled it up, I was like, you know what, this is an important topic, but I don't want to bring any extra exposure to this than necessary. So, what are your thoughts?
I'm glad we have a son.
Duh.
No, that's man, the times we live in, man.
Did you engage in any like sexual explicit stuff online or in person at, I'm not going to say her age, but younger than 15?
Yeah, but nothing like
I'll
this.
say
Like,
I'll
this
say
is-
middle school.
It's just so much diff. Yeah, I mean, I talk to random people on like AOL Instant Messenger, and yeah, for sure. But
Was it sexual, would you say?
yeah, and I'm sure that there was probably some older like creepers that I talked to, like pretending to be girls. You know what I'm saying? Like guys pretending to be girls, and whatnot. But yeah, and that probably wasn't the safest thing, knowing what I know now, as far as like being able, like people that are good with computers, being able to find IP addresses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it probably wasn't the safest thing looking back on it, but it's so much more, social media stuff so much more invasive as far as like being able to find and locate you in real life, in the real world. And man, that's tough.
Yeah.
That is tough. Like I'm almost like, dude, move, change y'all's names, everything.
Yeah.
I don't that's oof. I would definitely talk to other parents, and like that way, if she's doing it, other friends are doing it. She can't be the only one.
Yeah. My thoughts are, okay, so I'll just say this girl's like middle school age. So it's not even, when I was in middle school, I mean, I was engaging in explicit stuff. And then watching like shock videos and all that. Yeah, I did this when I was 14, and I actually met him in person, had like a little thing with him. And my mom and my brother looked in his car and saw that the title was in his name, so saw that he was an adult, and forbid him from coming to the house. And for years, I was just like, man, like I was so willing, like I was such a willing participant. Like it wasn't like I was being manipulated. Like I knew what I was doing and I wanted that. But I didn't realize until being an adult how badly that could have went.
Right. That's how I felt with like everything that happened when I was a kid. Like all the things that I was doing that I shouldn't have been doing. It's like it's not really about, in that situation, it's not really about like her or the person as much as it is about the potential of the other people.
Right.
And like how bad it could be. Like
Right.
best case scenario, you're just being a naughty kid. Worst case, a serial killer finds you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's the potential for bad is like way more vast than you think about when you're that age.
Yeah, like I am thankful that there was intervention from that situation when I was younger. But also like her mom completely banning social media. I don't know, I'm not going to like try to blame the mom, but I am going to say like I think it's better to see your kid's social media. Like it's better for your kid to have social media that they're not hiding and that you can monitor and you can talk to them about and like see things than forcing them to have a secret account.
Right.
Like she might not have even had a secret account.
If she was allowed to have an account, but on the terms of it being transparent.
Right. And like, it even said that she was sharing personal information about her family and friends to these people online. So like she probably, and like she had a hard time making friends in school. She probably does not have a lot of social awareness. And so she probably likes the compliments, not realizing that they're sexual. She probably likes the attention, not realizing it's inappropriate attention. She's probably likes being able to share about her life, her family and friends with people who are interested, not realizing how compromising that is of her safety and the people that she's talking about safety. She seems like she's lacking a lot of awareness about those things. And people learn those things by doing and by having social media and talking to their parents and figuring it out. Like kids nowadays, they have to learn online safety.
Yeah.
And you can't just like lock it in a cage and be like, okay, you're just not going to engage with this. They need to learn it.
Yeah.
So like I do hate to say it, but I will, like, I think there needs to be some accountability. And like I really hate to say that because it is such an unfortunate situation. Moving forward, it's like, yes, notify the school, but keep it anonymous. Make sure she's not online anymore. Maybe see if you can change an IP or like whatever, however that works. Talk to your internet provider and explain to them that there was like some sort of situation, you're fearful of stalkers, whatever. And then within therapy,
And also, I think there's also like companies nowadays that you can pay to like delete your digital footprint.
yeah.
That'd be good to go about.
And then as for the daughter, I think she should be in therapy and should have those things explained. And if she is forming her own sense of sexuality, she needs to find healthy outlets to do that. And, people don't like to talk about it. People don't like to. I guess with the Netflix show Big Mouth, it is kind of getting more talked about how kids do start getting a sense of sexuality early on, and it needs to be talked about healthily. But, she's a girl. It's like, explain to her what inappropriate things are, what things are safe for her, how she can, embrace her sensuality and these changes that are going to be happening in healthy, empowering ways.
Right. And to be aware when like just because something feels good to you doesn't mean it's right.
Right. Because I know that I wasn't really told how to empower that part of myself. And I've spoken about it on, this like platform so many times about how like I grew up with a very strong tie to my sensuality, and like sex was just so fascinating to me at such an early age. And I wish I would have been told how to empower that, because instead I was chasing it, and then people were taking advantage of that. And ultimately it did me a lot of harm that I'm still trying to heal from the fact that I had to learn that stuff through unfortunate just trial and error and hurtful things that have happened. And then instead of just having someone to teach me and tell me when it first started, because it was like a snowball effect. It's like once you start going that early, you just keep going. And so now her daughter's already starting to go with that. It's like you need to like let her know, like, no, babe, like this is how you can actually embrace the side of you and do it safely.
Right.
It's like if you want to start dating, if you want to start getting attention from boys, like here are the safe ways. She's in middle school age. So it's like, these are the things that most middle schoolers should do because that's what their bodies and their minds are capable of doing, like kissing and stuff. But it's like,
right. There's been on that topic, it's been so extreme in one direction or the other of like, I just go buck wild or, like be celibate.
so closed off. Yeah.
It was like, there's gotta be a healthy balance of like not suppressing yourself, but also being like healthy and protected and safe.
Yeah.
And not damaging yourself. Because both can be damaging, whether you suppress yourself or go full on, willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Both can be equally damaging.
Some good comments that I saw, and which I'm gonna also paraphrase just for the protection of this situation. There's some things that are like I don't feel conflicted about posting and making content about, but this, someone said that like don't let it be a punishment, but just like treat this as a cry for help and make sure that she's safe and not being more exposed, and teach her what she needs to know. Don't notify the other parents, notify the school and tell them it needs to be anonymous, but that this is an ongoing issue. Someone said that as a kid they did stuff like this because they were seeking validation and attention, and they were deeply insecure and depressed, and it led to behaviors and being explicit online that then made her feel even more self-hate. So she's saying to, be kind and supportive and make sure there's no shame, but, lock it down.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And also, like, talking to your kids like they're an adult.
Yeah.
Like, and not like
not trying to force them to stay a
Right,
kid,
right,
but recognize that they are budding into something,
right,
a different era of their own life.
right.
Someone did say if she is starting to have a sexual awakening, to maybe introduce her to some age-appropriate young adult romance novels. And I personally love that idea because I got into fan fiction, which people who know fan fiction know that fan fiction can get a little wild. But I got into that a little too late. And I think had I gone into that earlier,
Could have expressed that side of yourself without doing it outwardly.
right.
Could have done it a little more in your mind.
And
versus...
you learned about things in like a little different of ways and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
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 A little less firsthand.
But yeah. And people are just like talking to a therapist. Like, make sure that the therapist stays in the know of it, this whole situation. That was a rough one, though, but it needs to be talked about. Internet safety is so important. Mm-hmm. All right. And our last story, after those tough ones.
Yeah, give me something light.
This was posted in r-parenting. My kid is embarrassed by me.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
28 female, and her daughter, who's 4. Her daughter's 4. She had told me yesterday that she's embarrassed by how I dress and wishes I dressed differently. Where do I go from there? I'm an attorney, but I work 100% remotely, so 99% of the time I'm in yoga pants or shorts, baggy t-shirts, sweatshirts, and I only wear makeup for date nights or events, and my hair's very curly, so it's either crazy or in a messy bun. I didn't realize my daughter even thought twice about how I dress or cared. I mean, she's 4. Maybe naive.
Wow, she's 4 and said that.
Yes. You didn't catch that?
No. Oh, that's great.
I didn't think I had anything to worry about in terms of embarrassing my kids for at least a few more years. This came to light yesterday at pickup from pre-K. She was in the hallway with her class and got upset when she saw me. Once we got in the car, she's able to tell me why she got upset and told me she wished I dressed prettier and that the clothes I wore were embarrassing.
Oh my gosh.
Specifically asking me to wear dresses and wear makeup. While I enjoy wearing sundresses in summer, I'm not opposed to wearing them more often. I'm feeling conflicted by this. We have never commented on other people's bodies or appearances in public or private, and we only ever give compliments in regard towards each other and others. Maybe it's coming from her friends at school. Based on what I know from playdates and talking to her parents, I'm one of few, if not the only parent, who doesn't physically go to a job. Maybe that's the issue. I don't know. I'm lost, confused, my ego's bruised, though I know this is not my daughter's fault at all. Just need help navigating this weird situation.
Yeah, it seems to me like I don't think she learned it. I think it's just something that, like, she's like put the pieces together in her head. Like, she sees her friends getting picked up by these people who are going to an outside job, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're all, dressed like more businessy or just, dressed up. And yeah, I think it's more something that she just kind of put together in her head.
Yeah, and it's crazy for me because what she describes her wearing is she's wearing like athletic or leisure wear, which is like trendy.
Right. Yeah.
Like that, people will wear that all the time.
That's why I don't think she learned it from. I don't think it's anybody else that like made a comment. I think it's more just her noticing it's different.
She like wants to wear dresses. She wants her mom to wear dresses. So I almost wonder if she's so used to seeing like hyper femininity from like Barbie and like those kind of like and also kids' clothes, especially young girls' clothes, are very frilly and like pink with
cutesy.
sparkly. Right. Yeah. And so it's like I almost wonder if she thinks, as a 4-year-old,
She
this
gets
is
all
how
messed
girls
up. Right.
dress.
Right.
Why is my mom dressing like a bum-ass man?
Right.
And then she sees other parents, and like she's 28, OP. So I do wonder if she's like seeing, that's still pretty young. I'm 29, and like I dress kind of like girly sometimes. And so I wonder if she sees all these other parents kind of dressed up either for work, or it's also just the trend of younger parents now tend to have a little more fun with their appearance, like big eyeliner, colored. Like maybe she's just seeing all of this like hyper femininity and also like hyper self-expression.
Right.
That when she sees her mom just kind of chilling every day, she's just like, man, why aren't you
Get
wearing
your shit together,
why
man.
aren't you wearing glitter?
Right.
Where is your dress?
Yeah.
There was an edit. This has blown up. Insanity. I just wanted to clarify, I'm never unkempt. I just only really wear casual clothing to pick up. I'm always clean, well groomed, smell good. My clothes don't have holes or stains. I also feel like people are associating messy bun with bedhead. I don't just roll out of bed not looking into a mirror. I just meant that I throw it up in the morning instead of using styling tools if my curls are especially unruly and I don't want to deal with them. Same for the makeup thing. I don't normally wear makeup, but I'm not haggard. I take care of my nails and I'm always well groomed. I even go to get my nails done bi-weekly. I just don't dress up. I don't know why people have decided yoga pants equals slob. Is this true? Did I miss the memo? Everyone in my area wears yoga pants and athletic clothing out and about. Also, I'm not crashing out over this. I'm aware she's 4. The comments may have been a little hurtful, but I'm not upset about it. I posted looking for advice from a parenting sub, which is what the best approach would be with my daughter, and to not only set boundaries on why comments like that aren't nice, but to hopefully break up the stigmas that are building in her brain around beauty standards, society, and women and appearances. Which is like, that's my thing. Is I think it is probably just like a fact of like young girls are so used to frilly clothes and like seeing that.
Yeah. This like reminds me of like when River will say stuff when it, like earlier today at the baseball game where it's like I can't remember. Oh, a kid picking up a piece of chewing gum off the ground and eating it. It's like some things are an inside thought.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to say everything you think.
Or today he was like, he's like, what did he say? He's like, I love you, but I don't like makeup.
Right.
And it was just like, okay.
Yep, they just have their own little thoughts in there and their own little preferences, and
Right. And
sometimes they say things that like in society you learn maybe you should just keep to yourself
right.
or not say it where everybody can hear you.
Yeah. I mean, I just think
You're so unfiltered.
there is a point of like, I don't know. It is kind of funny that her 4-year-old is like getting on her for not.
That's hilarious. No, it's definitely funny.
Like, poor mother. Like, you are going to go through it when she's a teenager.
Oh, she's gonna, yeah.
If she doesn't handle this, because I think she does need to handle it. She does need to address, like, we don't care about what people look like.
Right.
We don't judge what other people choose to do with their body.
Yeah.
I choose to wear this. And even, like, show her some pictures of, like, Hailey Bieber and like leggings and like a sweatshirt, or like Selena Gomez, or like I don't know who the young girls, Sabrina Carpenter. Like, show her how, because yoga pants and sweatshirts are trendy.
Right.
It's just not trendy for 4-year-olds. Right. So she just doesn't know.
Yeah.
Put a girl on. Show her Pinterest. Time to build this girl up.
She's just like way ahead of her time. She's gonna be like the one that brings in like the new fashion in her age.
Honestly, slam her. What are you wearing? A tutu? So embarrassing.
Right.
What is that? A unicorn on your shirt? What?
Well, all right.
Some comments were, I would not change how you dress to appease your daughter. This is a teachable moment. You can explain how making negative comments about how someone looks or dresses can hurt their feelings, and that she can decide on what she dresses, but she should only comment on someone else's choices when it's a sincere compliment. My daughter tells me that too. I just tell her it's my body, my choice, and that she can dress however she wants to, and I can too. This won't be the last time you hear she's embarrassed because of you. I would tell my kids, good, stay embarrassed. It builds character.
That's somebody with a few kids right there.
I think this is a good opportunity to teach her about beauty standards, personal choice, and letting her know makeup and clothes aren't the main things that make you pretty. Yep. Kids are brutal, man. That's what someone wrote. Kids are brutal, man.
So true.
Yeah, honestly, I've received so many sideways comments from River that I'm just like numb to it. And I usually just like respond with, River, that's not nice. Like, don't do that. I was like, you shouldn't say that. I tried hard. And he still says it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've told
He's
him
a
so
savage.
many times that, like, I like to do makeup. Like, makeup makes me happy, so that's why I do it. And he'll still be like, I don't like makeup. Which is kind of nice also in a way, that he thinks I'm pretty without makeup.
Yeah, I was wondering, like, what, I wonder if it's like when you go to hug him or kiss him, like, he doesn't like the taste or smell, or if it's a look thing, if it's just
He
like
definitely doesn't
just
like,
different.
he
just
won't
different,
give me
you know?
kisses if I'm wearing lipstick, so.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to do lip stain a lot for him because of that. I don't know.
What's lip stain?
It's like what I have on now, where it tints my lips, but it's not actually a product. So it's like,
Gotcha.
see, it's like not on my
Yeah.
fingers.
I like it.
Yeah,
There's
you
some pretty
know,
lips.
I try, but you know, there's so many times that I put on leggings and like a sweatshirt and I feel cute, like that. It's just funny.
I dress the equivalent of that always. Like if I'm not working, I'm in a tank top and like comfortable shorts or sweatpants.
Imagine what would be like the worst thing for your kid to say they're embarrassed of for you. I think
They already say I'm not cool, so that kind of hurts the ego for sure.
Oh, well, okay. So appearance wise, what would really do me rough is probably if River said he was embarrassed by how chesty I am, or like my teeth or my face or something like that. That would definitely. Ugh. Or if my tattoos, like if he's like, I'm embarrassed by your tattoos. I'd be like, oh,
Like if he grew
I paid money for those.
if he grew up to be like very Puritan, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. My mom has tattoos. She's going to hell.
How dare I? Or my stretched ears. Yeah, I
Right.
don't know. I think like any appearance thing. I don't really think I get too weird about makeup and like outfits because that's just a preference thing and that alternates from day to day.
Yeah.
But yeah, like personality wise, if like River said he was embarrassed because I'm like dumb or not funny, oh
Ooh,
my
that
god.
would kill you.
Oh dude, like I have to lean on being smart and funny. I have to.
Yeah, that would hurt. That would hurt you.
Yeah.
Luckily, he thinks I'm just the funniest.
Yeah.
I hope he continues to think that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easy right now. He's young. I feel like he might not think I'm so funny when he grows up.
What's some advice you have for some parents out there?
Work together with your co-parent and don't be so headstrong.
Grant everyone grace in the family. Grant each other, as in the parents or co-parents, grace, especially if you both are new parents. Like I said, you already had a child, so it was kind of nice, but a lot of people are just starting. They don't know everything. We've never, we weren't born with an instruction manual of how we have to be as parents with our brain and our circumstances. We have to kind of figure it out. Have grace with the child. The child, this is their life. They're trying to do their best. Just keep them safe. Be firm but loving.
Yeah, man, being a parent and like, it's just like, dude, we're all just kids having kids and trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like becoming a parent makes you realize and have empathy and like have compassion for like your parents and your parents' parents, and it's like, man, they were all just kids having kids.
Yeah, it either makes you resentful of your parents or it makes you deeply empathetic.
Yeah.
There's no in between.
Yeah, we're all just trying to figure out how to be humans.
All right,
Legit.
you want to send us off?
Yeah, man. I'm Dylan. This is Danny. Today we read about parenting.
Oh, this is gonna be a
Reddit stories.
summary. This is a summary. Okay,
Huh?
this is like a summary, like a 5-paragraph essay in conclusion.
All right, time out. You take us out. Time out.
I might keep that in.
You do that.
Yeah, I might keep that in. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for continuing your support for Realistic Intentionality. It means the world to us. I hope you are enjoying this Reddit Reads mini-series. I promise I'm working hard to plan season 2 of the guest podcast, but I'm so happy to be doing this with you, Dylan.
Absolutely.
I love reading Reddit and talking all this stuff.
For
and
sure.
You
For
know,
sure.
putting our
Yeah,
2 cents
yeah.
in.
Leave us some comments about some topics you might want us to dive into. Whether or not you want this to be a temporary thing or something we continue to do after this little mini
Are you
series.
saying you're getting hooked?
I told you from the get-go, like, this is one of my favorite things. Like, I love watching Reddit stories, and I love reading and talking about Reddit stories. So I would not be opposed. But yeah, you guys let us know if this is something you guys like, and if
And please know that you are incredibly special. You are incredibly loved. You have things to offer this world that are needed and unique and amazing, and you deserve to express yourself and show the world what you have to offer. And I promise it's special, and I promise it's worth it. And please know that you deserve to create the life that you exist for. I'm Danny, this is Dylan, and we are Realistic Intentionality, and thank you so much for being here. Bye!